I'm next weather meteorologist Lissette Gonzalez tracking Hurricane Helene, which as of 11 a.m. is a Category 2 with max sustained winds of 105 miles per hour, moving towards the north-northeast at 14 miles an hour and forecast to become a major Category 3 hurricane before it makes landfall sometime later this evening along the Big Bend area of the Panhandle, Florida here. And it'll continue to lift north and eventually weaken to a tropical storm by tomorrow, but it is going to bring the potential for flooding and life-threatening storm surge for the Florida Panhandle as well as the southeast. So tropical storm warning is in effect for all of South Florida. We also have a tornado watch in effect until 8 p.m. this evening due to the potential for isolated tornadoes, and also a flood watch is in effect through tomorrow morning, as we will have the potential for 2 to up to 4 inches of rain due to the squalls that will be moving through. Hurricane warnings are in effect here along the Big Bend and parts of the Florida Panhandle, along the Gulf Coast, and elsewhere we have tropical storm warnings in place. In addition to that, we are seeing a storm surge warning in effect up and down the Gulf Coast here of the state, as there is a potential for life-threatening catastrophic storm surge up to 20 feet where Helene is expected to make landfall, and then for Tampa Bay up to 5 to 8 foot storm surge, 3 to 5 foot storm surge for the southwest coast, 1 to 3 foot storm surge possible for the Keys. As of right now, our next weather radar network is quiet in Broward and Dade County. There are a few showers beginning to move into the lower Keys, and we will continue our coverage on the stream. All right, good morning, everyone. And we are taking a look at the latest information regarding Hurricane Helene. So I do want to begin with the track and the satellite image, which just shows you how large and dangerous Helene is. Right now, it is moving to the north-northeast at 14 miles an hour. As of the 11 a.m. advisory, is it a Category 2 with max sustained winds of 105 miles per hour, already beginning to pound portions of the Florida Panhandle and the Big Bend, as well as parts of Central Florida, and even here in South Florida, we've been dealing with some of the squalls and the outer rain bands. Here is the latest forecast track, and Helene is forecast to become a Category 3, a major hurricane later today before it makes landfall here somewhere along the Big Bend area of the Florida Panhandle, and then it'll lift northward, weaken to a tropical storm by tomorrow. We are under a tropical storm warning here in South Florida, a tornado watch as well through this evening, as we could see some isolated tornadoes. And also a flood watch is in effect through tomorrow morning, as rainfall totals of 2 to up to 4 inches will be possible. So much of the state under some sort of warning or alert here, as you can see, because of the wide-reaching impacts of Helene. Hurricane warning in effect here for the Big Bend and parts of the Florida Panhandle, and storm surge warning in effect for the entire Gulf Coast here of the state, as we could see life-threatening catastrophic storm surge of up to 15 to up to 20 feet here where Helene is expected to make landfall. Here in the Keys, we're talking storm surge of 1 to 3 feet. And as we look at our next weather radar network, we're mainly dry for now, but I'm going to keep an eye on a few showers, and we will be dealing with on and off again gusty rain bands throughout the day.
All right, we'll be watching for that. Now live pictures from Key West courtesy of EarthCam. It looks like the shot is frozen right now, but this morning we've been watching conditions there as waves and that storm surge have been going over the barrier wall there. We're going to see if we can get that back up. There you go. You can see the waves. They're not as bad, in fact, as they were earlier, a little bit earlier this morning, which is good news. But as we heard Lissette just say, this is going to come in bands, so we'll continue to watch it. Now, CBS News Miami Steve Majiri, he is there and filed this report.
I'm Steve Majiri in Key West. We're hundreds of miles away from the eye of the storm, but we are still feeling some stormy effects from Helene here. The main ones we're feeling are wind and waves. You can see the waves here are washing over onto the street because of these strong winds that are coming towards me, and that's causing water to build up on the street here. This is Roosevelt Boulevard, and even back here into these side streets. Right here, this is one of the city's many drains for storm water, but it's backed up. It's slowly subsiding a little bit more since earlier this morning, and there's some other places for this water to go over here. Back by this hotel, the water also can wash over into that ditch. Better there than building up by people's cars. And officials tell me they do have ways of draining all of this out. They have equipment, but they tell me that often the system just gets overloaded with the waves and all of the storm surge that's coming through the last few days. So the best bet for them is to just wait for all of this to subside. So we're seeing these strong waves coming in here. Anywhere near the water really is where you're going to feel the strongest winds and some waves if you're close enough to the water. The southernmost point had some really strong waves yesterday, likely going to see more of that today, and of course along here on Roosevelt. So cars are starting to move their way through and drive through the area, but officials are urging you to be cautious as you make your way around the island. Reporting in Key West, I'm Steve Magiri.
So as we watch Helene come ashore throughout the day, I want you to hear what the mayor of Tallahassee is calling Helene. He's saying it is the largest, most intense hurricane in the city's history. That's quite a statement. Businesses there, check them out. They are boarded up. Schools and universities, they are closed, and risk shelters are open at this hour. The county issued a mandatory evacuation for residents of mobile and manufactured homes, well, because of the threat of hurricane-force winds. All residents there should now be sheltered in place. Now, catastrophic storm surge, it is expected, and people along Tampa Bay are boarding up and putting sandbags out in preparation of what's to come. Let's get to CBS News Miami's Jennifer Titus in Tampa Bay.
We are here in downtown Crystal River, where businesses are doing the best they can to prepare for whatever Helene brings. Right now, this area is projected at a 10 to 15 foot storm surge. To put that into perspective, this whole area was underwater from Hurricane Idalia, about 3 to 4 feet of water inside these businesses, and that was a 7-foot storm surge. Now this storm is projected again at that 10 to 15 feet. Mandatory evacuations throughout the entire Crystal River. I talked to Citrus County Sheriff yesterday. He says if this area was to see that top number, that 15-foot storm surge, pretty much the whole western part of Citrus County would be underwater, and that's why those mandatory evacuations are in place. They're asking people not to go hundreds of miles, just tens of miles. Get to a safe location as this storm comes through and that storm surge comes through, because those are numbers that this area, I talked to somebody that's been here since 1969. He says he doesn't remember the last time those numbers have been projected for this area. For now, we're in Crystal River. Jennifer Titus, 10 Tampa Bay.
This out new video we are getting showing the flooding that parts of the West Coast are already dealing with. This is in Treasure Island, Florida, which is just north of St. Petersburg. The area is expected to get up to 10 feet or more of storm surge as the hurricane moves north toward the Big Bend area. Now, Hurricane Helene not heading directly to South Florida, thankfully, but we are expecting rainfall and a lot of wind. CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner, she's in North Miami with some of the preparations happening.
Sandbag distribution here at North Miami Motor Pools is officially open, and it runs through 4 p.m. Now, I do want to point out that in order to get sandbags, you need to show that you are a resident of North Miami, and there is a limit as to how many bags you can bring home with you. Now, on Wednesday, cities and residents across South Florida started prepping for the storm impacts. Broward County crews were out in neighborhoods making sure storm drains were clear. They are also deploying pumps so that water flows. In the city of Dania Beach, they gave away close to 2,000 sandbags in just 1 hour. In Fort Lauderdale, residents filled up sandbags too, saying even just heavy rain causes flooding these days.
When there's a heavy flow of rain, a consistent rain, the water from the river flows, it just rises and keeps rising. And when the flood happened last year, it was about 3 feet of water inside my house.
We're worried, so we're happy that we got some sand and trying to protect ourselves. This is what's important.
Also happening today, Global Empowerment Mission out of Doral. They are sending trucks full of supplies to the areas most impacted by the storm. The Miami-Dade County Mayor will be there as well. We are getting ready to head over there, so stick with us. For now, I'm in North Miami. Morgan Reiner, CBS News, Miami.
And in preparation for this storm and the power outages that are expected, Florida Power and Light says it has assembled a restoration workforce of thousands, and it is pre-positioning crews, equipment, and supplies to restore power safely and as quickly as possible. So the utility company is warning that regardless of where Helene makes landfall, customers throughout the state could see some impact of the severe weather leading to power interruption.